I'm gonna face this way because this is my good eyebrow. But thank you for agreeing to meet with me.
No problem. You're welcome.
I know you have some great stories to tell about your journey, WardlawstoWaco.
Right.
And we just wanted you to be able to tell the world about this journey. There's one story in particular that we're really anxious to hear about.
Okay. All right. Do I have to tell it?
Yeah, we really would really like if you're able to share.
Okay.
About
but I'm
the
nervous.
No need to be nervous. People may laugh and point, make fun of you behind your back, but when you're fabulous, it doesn't matter. Haters are gonna hate, Mr. Wardlaw.
Okay, haters are going. I didn't know I had any haters, but that's okay.
You're doing something right if you have haters.
All
if
right.
you don't, you're just a loser. Yeah. So thank you for being on the show.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Just want to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
About your journey with Fixer Upper. That's inappropriate.
Sorry.
Fixer Upper.
Fixer Upper.
So you made it on the show.
No.
Oh.
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Might have got this segment wrong. So you didn't make it on the show. I'm sorry. I did hear that you didn't make it on the show.
Yeah, we did.
So did you think you were going to be on the show?
I did. I thought we were going to be on the show. If you would have told me to bet $1 million, I would have bet 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So
why did you think you were going to be on the show? From what I've heard, this is part of your untold story.
Yeah, so
you really thought you were going to be on it.
We really did. I mean, I practically thought that we were in the family.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that, so.
Well, tell us a little bit about how you got to that.
Okay.
That conclusion.
All right, but you can't laugh because there's already enough shame and guilt associated with this story, and that's why I haven't told anybody really, because I didn't want to be in that same group of people that just moved to Waco just to be on Fixer Upper and then get their dreams shattered and hope shattered. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I know this is tough.
It is, but it's a.
In all seriousness, I know this is not easy. We try to make light of it so we don't cry.
Right. This is probably one of the hardest stories to tell, but I'll tell it. So when we first got the call to come to Waco, a lot of our friends back in Virginia were saying, "Oh my gosh, you guys are going to Waco. You got to be on Fixer Upper, Fixer Upper, Fixer Upper." And I was just like, all right, cool. Like, well, we'll look into it. And obviously we started watching the show before we left, and I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. So we got down here. We actually applied before we left Virginia, but they had stopped casting for season 5. So we get down and season 4. So we get down. You're a Fixer Upper fan. So I
just fact check before I review people.
So we get down and it's too late. They closed for season 4. But our realtor was like, hey, you guys just keep looking. You never know. So we said, okay. So we started looking for Fixer Upper houses, but also turnkey houses. And okay, we can go either way at this point. But time started passing and we just knew that, you know what, Fixer Upper isn't for us. So I kind of just let the dream go. My wife and I agreed that it was the move for our family. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it seemed like every other week we were meeting somebody that was closely connected, really, really, really closely connected, super closely connected to Fixer Upper. So whether it was the roofer or friends that went to college with them, or their pastors, or friends.
You met people on the show as well.
We met people that was on the show. We were in houses that were on the show, that were in the show. So it just seemed like after we had let this dream of Fixer Upper go, God just started putting all these different signs And I'm thinking, okay, wow, so maybe we are supposed to be on Fixer Upper. Maybe it is God's will. That would be pretty cool. So then we find a house.
You found a house, a fixer-upper house.
A fixer-upper house.
Okay, you were still looking for fixer-upper houses?
No, we were actually about to sign for a new construction 20 minutes outside of Waco. And that's where we were going to move.
Oh, that was the move.
That was the move.
So you changed your mind because you found a fixer-upper?
Not only because we found a fixer-upper, it was like God put this fixer-upper in our lap. So, you know, we told this story before. Good friends of ours, the Mills, they were putting a house on the market. It was exactly what we wanted, and it needed to be fixed up for, you know, as far as for what we wanted to do. And, you know, mind you, let me tell this part of the story. No one ever said or promised us that we would be on Fixer Upper. Nobody ever did that. But it was always like oh yeah, you guys would be great for the show. I mean, you're young, you're energetic, we fit the scope of the show, you know, we moved down here. So I had already in my head kind of planned out.
You're black. That's what I heard.
We bring diversity.
Okay.
I'm black, I am. You know, we bring diversity to the show. So it was just one thing after another that we were like, this would be like, it makes sense. God, this was your will. This was your plan for us to come down here. We gave up so much. The least God could do would be to put us.
He owes us.
He owes us, yeah. Like, absolutely.
Naturally.
We're entitled to be on national TV, to have our home done because we gave up so much.
To have your story told.
To have our story. Right, to have our story told, you know. And I already told my story. I mean, in my head, I was like, oh man, this is what I'm gonna wear when we meet with Chip and Joe. This is what I'm gonna say. This is
pretty presumptuous.
It was very presumptuous.
I mean, was it just you buying into this? Did your family buy into it too?
Well, okay, so here's where the shame comes in. So thank you for asking a question that brings up a lot of shame. My daughter did. My 3-year-old daughter.
Oh.
She bought it on her own.
Okay.
We would sit back and we would watch Fixer Up every, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 11. And then on Tuesdays we would watch a couple episodes. And
Did you do anything else?
Maybe no. Okay. No, not a little bit. Maybe. Okay. No. Brush teeth maybe sometimes.
All right. Bathe?
Maybe. No.
Okay.
Not really.
Right.
So what we did was we would, you know, have just a family meeting, and it so happened to be on Fixer Upper when we were having our family meeting. So we would look to get ideas for our home. And I remember one particular day, Anastasia was just sitting there and we were watching, and she said, Daddy, I want to play with those girls. And I was like, sweetie, you know what? Just ask God, just pray. And I'm sure God will grant us that wish. You know, go ahead. Like a genie. And I told her it with so much confidence, and this is where I feel so horrible. It's kind of like I lied to my daughter. And I think that's what really hurt and really just stung the most is here I am. I had made up the story. I had wrote the end of the story. I had told myself this is what God was doing. He did all of these things, orchestrated all these things to bring us to get on Fixer Upper, and that was going to be a reward for us giving up so much. And so I had already, you know, wrote the story in my head and ended the story to where I was that presumptuous to tell her, just pray about it. I don't think I was really even telling her to pray about it. I was just more so trying to maybe do something for my own self, like as a dad. Now, as far as my wife, she didn't drink the Kool-Aid as much.
Did she take sips?
I think she took sips.
Probably.
I think she took sips, but she never committed. She would do things like, I don't know what she would do. I can't remember what she would do.
I'd imagine that she might say things like, think Chip and Joe put this in the house? Kind of tongue in cheek, but in her heart kind of wanting it to happen, but not really committed that it was going to happen, and didn't want to set herself up to be disappointed. So she would make jokes, but secretly hope that they would come true.
That sounds just like my wife.
Yeah. She sounds like a wonderful person.
She is.
So, would you say that as a man of faith, Do you think that there was elements of trying to walk in faith in this whole process and just learning how to operate in faith and believe in faith and write the end of the story? You know, were there elements of that?
At the time, I didn't see that, but now that you said something, I think it was I have so much faith in God that he could do something like this. This is not too far reaching. This is definitely in the scope of what God can do, and he gives us the desires of our heart. And our desire is to get a home and to have it renovated and to live happily ever after in Waco. So I think there was an element of doing this by faith, but I also wrote the end of the story, and I think there's a fine line between letting God write the end of the story and you writing the story, but also trying to balance faith in that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So it sounds like in this process, in this journey, in this moving, walking in faith, the Lord is just teaching and molding and refining you in that area and what that looks like.
Oh, like you wouldn't know.
Oh.
Yeah. My birthday? Hot. I felt it.
All good.
I felt it. I felt the heat. But I thought it was just our chemistry. I thought it was just our chemistry. Okay, hey, you know what? Never mind me. I'm just going to talk this way. So, yeah.
That's really interesting, Mr. Wardlaw. Thank you for sharing. You know,
you're welcome.
I know that's not easy. Most people would just kind of keep that to themselves and take it to their grave.
Yeah,
but
that's what I wanted to do.
You tell the world.
I am telling the world.
With respect.
And I thank you. And I'm telling the world for one reason, is the lesson that I learned. It was a hard lesson because when we talked about this back in October, we made light of it, but I really was devastated that there wasn't going to be a season 6, because I thought like God, how could you? How could you give us all of these signs that led to Fixer Upper? Nothing that we went out seeking for. We had given up the dream of Fixer Upper, but you still gave us so many signs that pointed to Fixer Upper. So why would you cancel the show? Like it didn't make sense to me. So I was devastated. But I didn't let it show. I did a lot of jokey, but it took a toll, and it was, let's say again, shameful. But I really did hear, like, I guess when I was wrestling with God, because I was a little bit angry, and I said, God, why would you do this? Why would you give us so many signs? And like, what do you want me to learn from this? And I believe that he spoke to my spirit and said, you didn't allow me to write the end of the story. You wrote the end of the story yourself. So that's why you're so devastated. So that's the lesson that I learned. And I think we can incorporate that into our marriage and our lives. And I think it's something that I want other people to take away from this video this interview rather, is let God write your story. Let God write the whole story.
Well, there you have it, folks. The story. The good, the bad, the untold. Mr. Wardlaw, thank you for sharing with our audience today.
You're welcome.
Of just what it means to truly let the Lord write your story. He'll write it better than we ever could imagine.
You're absolutely right.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Inappropriate.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Still inappropriate. We're on the air.
You have a great night.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Call me.
Mm-mm.